Both super versatile shoes, both really lightweight shoes, both great shoes, but if I'm going to give the win to a shoe, in today's shoe comparison review, we've got the ASICS Noosa Tri 16 up against the HOKA Mach 6. So we're going to go through their similarities, their differences, and their key features, and hopefully from that, that's going to give you guys a great indication of choosing the right shoe for you. But before we get into it, massive shout out to my #1 running store, the Running Company at Geelong. I've got a link to their website in the description. Make sure you go check out that and check out all their running gear. And also guys, if you want to support this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So checking out our quick specs here, now what is jumping out to me is certainly the price difference here in Australia. So $40 more expensive for the Mach 6 over the Noosa. Now in the weight, two incredibly lightweight shoes, and they look pretty much neck and neck on paper. However, I've weighed these on my own scales, and the Noosa comes in at a fair bit lighter over the Mach, which was very, very surprising. So also in the stack, it says that the Mach's got a higher stack. You wear these shoes side by side, there is not much difference in them. Maybe it's because the foam feels a little bit softer in the Mach, and also there's nothing in the drops as well. And in our uppers, so straight into the Noosa, so we've got an engineered mesh here, and it's a type of mesh that's not going to hold any water, which is exactly what you want. If this shoe is designed for triathlons, but very breathable shoe, nice and light and airy material. I really like it. Really solid heel counter here. They've done away with the Achilles flare like they did in the last version, and now they've just replaced it with a bit of a pull tab. They've got a plush amount of padding, so check out the padding that is around the heel collar of this shoe. Really nice, surprisingly though, just because of how light this shoe still is. In the tongue though, we've got a pretty thin tongue. It feels like it's made out of like a wetsuit type material. There's a little bit of padding in the tongue, but not much. They've got a bit of a pull tab on top of the tongue here, and they've got a hole in the middle of the tongue. So I'm not sure what that's designed for. Maybe it's to help design, you get your foot in the shoe a little bit easier if you've got no socks on, or if you've got a wet foot. Maybe it's just designed to dry the shoe out, or to add ventilation. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if I actually like that feature in it, but this tongue is gusseted, very nice, not going to move around anywhere. Laces, pretty standard laces. You don't get the toggle laces like you did in the last version. Lockdown in this shoe, excellent. With all that padding around the heel collar, you're just really secure in the shoe, so very nice. Now the fit, true to size in the length, and I would say in the width, it's about medium as well, so it doesn't come in nice and tight. Build quality, it's ASICS, it's always excellent. Now the Mach 6. Now what we got here is a Creel Jacquard mesh. So it's a bit of a double layer with this, so it's like a plasticky outer layer, and then it's got more like a mesh underneath it as well. But again, very light, very breathable, excellent material. Again, same as the Noosa, we've got a really solid heel counter here, but the Mach 6 has got an Achilles flare, as you can see there. Now in the padding department, we don't have as much padding around the heel collar as what we do in the Noosa, but it's still pretty generous considering how light this shoe is. But yeah, very comfortable shoe with that amount of padding. Now in the tongue, really love the tongue here on the Mach. It's really thin, and it's made out of like a mesh, and then it's also finished off really nicely with some really premium materials like that Alcantara type material, but the tongue is gusseted, it doesn't move anywhere, and it's nicely cut and contoured to sit on top of the foot. Lacing system, so if you're familiar with HOKA, this is a standard looking lacing system that HOKA's generally use. No dramas at all there. Now the lockdown in this shoe, again, not a problem at all. Now the fit, so HOKAs generally fit narrow, and this one is no exception, so it's a little bit narrow. However, this shoe does come in a wide, so if you can snag yourself a wide pair, go for that. But if you can't, you can definitely come half a size up. Pretty much just what I done, and that has just fixed my little toe rubbing on this narrow fit. And with our outsoles here, so with the ASICS, they've upgraded their outsole rubber to the ASICS grip, which is a marked improvement. But this ASICS grip, it doesn't falter in any conditions. It's excellent in the wet, excellent in the dry. I absolutely love it. It's pretty hard wearing as well. Now we've got a good amount of rubber coverage, pretty much the entire forefoot, as you can see there, and then it runs down, so it doesn't segment off, but it runs down either side of the shoe, and it goes into the high wear areas in the rear of the shoe. Now I've got my own well, I'm going to guess why they haven't broken this into segments. And I think they've just included this outsole rubber all the way down the shoe just to add a little bit of rigidity to the shoe because of the geometry of the shoe, which I'm going to go into later. But that's not certain. That's just me guessing what's going on. So they've got a bit of exposed foam here through the bottom of the shoe, and they've got a bit of an indent, a bit of a groove there, hoping just to add a little bounce to this midsole. Now in our Mach 6, so they have got their Dura abrasion rubber. So again, they've got a fair bit of rubber coverage on this, but this compound, it's quite soft. So it's a little bit softer than the ASICS grip and not as loud, not as tappy when you're running on the ground. But in the grip department, it's pretty good as well. However, it's not as good as the ASICS grip in the wet conditions. It can still get a little bit slippery, this one, on them challenging wet roads, but not overly bad like some shoes can be. And again, all down the medial side here of the shoe, the inside of the shoe, it's all just one piece. And then the other a little bit of rubber on the high wear area here at the back. Now what's interesting here with the Mach, they've got a really big crevice right through the middle of the shoe, like a big slit. And obviously that is adding to the ride of the shoe, trying to give this shoe a little bit of pop and a little bit of softness, taking the impact out of the road. And in our midsoles here, so two very similar designs and very simple designs. So just one slab of their midsole foam. And with the Noosa, they use FF Blast Plus. So not the Eco version that you're going to find in the other version. This is just the FF Blast Plus, I believe. Someone out there can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to go with that. So obviously no plates in the shoe, so it makes these shoes a little bit flexible, that sort of make you feel a little bit natural feeling as you run. So there's a little bit of play left and right as well. But yeah, pretty flexible this one, but not super flexible like you're going to find in the New Balance Rebel. So a little bit of rigidity there. And again, I think that's down to the outsole rubber, though, this strip right down the outside, just to give it a little bit more rigidity, because it needs a bit of rigidity because of the rocker in the shoe, the geometry. So the Noosa is famous for its rocker design, especially in the last couple of versions, and it's really nice. So this Meta rocker, I believe it's called. So it's come out of the Glide Ride family and the Evo Ride family, but this rocker is in a really amazing place. So it's not too late and aggressive. It sort of starts a fair way back in the shoe, so you can feel it early on in the foot strike. And then once you're on it though, you can really feel it. So it's quite easy to roll through the foot strike with this one. But this is where the magic happens in this shoe. It's all about the geometry. Midsole foam in the Mach 6, so that's their supercritical EVA foam. So again, just the slab of that, no plate in this shoe. However, this shoe is a lot more rigid than the Noosa. As I said, look, I can barely bend that. I can bend the toes a little bit, but definitely not in the middle of the shoe. It's rigid, so it feels like it's got some form of structure through the middle of the shoe here. Now, yeah, as I said, supercritical foam, no plate. Now, geometry-wise, it's got an early stage Meta rocker. So that is, obviously, the rocker is further back in the shoe. It's probably at about the same spot, though, as the Noosa. However, it's not as prominent and it doesn't feel as aggressive, so you don't get as much tip forward. It feels much more traditional, definitely compared to the Noosa. And in our rides, so with the Noosa, first word comes to mind is just effortless. So it's just very smooth, very easy shoe to run in because of the geometry. Because no matter where I strike in this shoe, I seem to get on the rocker and it just rolls my foot through the foot strike so easy. So this foam though itself, it's not overly bouncy, it's not overly responsive as well. So it's not amazing. There's not much wow factor in it. There is a little bit of bounce through the midfoot, and it's certainly soft enough to take any pounding out of the ride. It doesn't feel firm at all, and it doesn't feel over responsive. Yeah, it just sort of sits in the middle. So FF Blast Plus, it certainly feels different than the previous version that used the flight foam, and it certainly feels different than the Nova Blast 3 that used FF Blast Plus as well. So it feels a little bit more dense than that. This shoe is certainly softer than last year's version of the Noosa, if you're familiar with that. but an extremely versatile shoe. It feels great at running at a lot of paces, so it's quite easy just to jog around in, and when you want to pick up the pace, it really likes to get up and going. So this rocker just adds to the ride, and you can just pick up the pace, no sweat at all. And just because it's such a light shoe, it's just so easy to get going in as well. Now, with the Mach 6, now first word that comes to mind here is smooth, very smooth. And this shoe is also very easy to run in. So again, this shoe is soft, but not overly soft, and it's not overly bouncy. And you get a little bit of pop here through the midfoot. The foam in this shoe is very, very close to the FF Blast Plus. So these two shoes are more similar than I expected. So they are very, very close, the feedback that you get. You probably get a little bit more softness and squish through the rear of the Mach 6. However, the Mach 6 has got more support through the midfoot. So the arch is built up a whole lot more, and you feel a bit more secure here through the midfoot. If you've got a bit of a high arch or you need some arch support, this one, you can feel that in the Mach, where it's a bit flatter in the Noosa, so you don't have that arch support, but very solid, very supportive, lots of guts here through the middle of the shoe when you're running. But then again, when you come onto the forefoot, definitely not as rocketed, but again, it's still got a bit of a rocker, so it takes any slappiness out of the ride. But these two shoes, foam-wise, are very, very, very similar. Best shoes for both these shoes is pretty much exactly the same thing. It's two incredibly versatile, lightweight running shoes. So yeah, they'll handle anything that you throw in them, from easy days to your long runs, all the way up to your threshold runs. They are good to go. They both lack that wow factor that I'm definitely looking for on race day. And wrapping it up, so the big thing for me with these two shoes that really surprised me was how close the foams felt to each other. So the feedback of the foams is certainly a lot closer than what I thought. So you can run in these shoes by themselves, and you think you're going to get some feedback, but you put one on each foot, and man, they're pretty close. So FF Blast and your supercritical EVA, yeah, you're splitting hairs between them. I think it's just going to come down to how they're actually shaped and how they actually cut out to what feedback that you get in the run. But yeah, super close. But yeah, as I said, big differences here. This one's going to feel much more rocketed, and for me, it's the easier shoe to run in. This one's going to feel a lot more supported through the midfoot, so if you need some arch support, this one is definitely the shoe to go for. Both super versatile shoes, both really lightweight shoes, both great shoes, but if I'm going to give the win to a shoe, I'm going to give it to the Noosa. It's $40 cheaper here in Australia, and just because of it's going to win just on the geometry, just because it's an easy shoe for me to run in. But anyway, guys, that's it from me. Hope you liked that one. Any questions you've got regarding my time in these two shoes or how they compare to anything else, please just let me know in the comments below. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.